Hey everybody, I'm Greg Sowell, and I'm here with another CIQ demo. Today I wanted to show you where we're at currently with Ledger Pro. It's our companion product to Ascender, and essentially what it does is it takes logs from Ascender, aggregates all of those together, parses them, and allows you to do some very interesting things. So let's start at the start. Here you can see the dashboard. I'm not going to waste time with this. We all know this is just for managers, right? Now there's some decent information in here if you're interested in. But what I'm really wanting to focus on is I'm going to quickly show you the things that have been in Ledger for a while so that we can get to the new additions. So the tried and true standard facts right here is still available. Or if you're new to it, hey, this is available. And really what this does is it takes all the fact gathering from Ascender, right? And so facts are whenever Ansible connects to something and gather facts. I'm doing air quotes there because it's a process called gathering facts, which really grabs and pulls a bunch of variabilized information, right? Well, it's going to export those via the logs to Ledger here, and it's going to parse those, and that's all here and available for you. Not only is it available, but it is searchable. You can add filters. You can do all of kind of creative looking at all of this information. That's great. So if I wanted to look for, say, all the IPv4 addresses in my infrastructure, I could, right? I could just say, hey, add a filter for fact, and I can look up IPv4 in here, and I can say, give me all of that, add it. It's going to create the filter, and it's going to show me all that. That's great. I have all that information. I can parse it, but what to me is more powerful is being able to report on this information. So we have the report section here, where you can see I have one that says Linux servers, right? It's just kind of a generic one that's baked in whenever you install this out of the box, so that it kind of gives you an example of, some reports you can generate. And they aren't the prettiest things you've ever seen, but you have the ability to copy these, CSV them, PDF them, print them. Really easy to generate them, and also really easy to edit, right? So I give it a name, I can sort it, I can add filters, complex compound filters in here, right? I've got all kinds of abilities to choose the fact I'm actually looking for, and then I can do contains, equals to, all kinds of good parsing information, and then essentially I can spit out any information that I choose right here, and I can change the order. I can do all that stuff, add columns, remove columns. It's really easy to take advantage of that. But to me, again, where is this powerful, right? We're thinking automation. So I don't want to just come in here and manually run a report. If I create a report, say for the security team, or maybe something for the network team looking for something specific, I can do that, and I can have it scheduled to run on a given interval, right? So I can say, hey, every Monday, run this and send it to the security department, right? Have it go to the security team, have it go to the audit team, whatever it happens to be. I don't have to manually maintain that anymore, right? Isn't that the whole goal of automation, so that we don't have to do these things? Well, after facts and reporting, we have changes. So we're not just pulling in fact-based information, we are exporting all of the logs that are happening in there. And part of Ascender's logging is it will actually show anytime there is a change condition to any of the tasks you're running. Well, those change conditions we actually parse out, and you can see them right here. So I can see all the various changes. Again, all the same filtering. I can choose a host, right? All of these templates, playbooks, roles, modules, all this stuff, I can start filtering based on that. It's very granular, as opposed to Ascender, which the logging in there is less granular. We're trying to search in it. Here, it's extremely granular, easy rather, to find all the very specific information you're looking for. So once I do have something I'm looking for, I can pop in here into the changes, and I can see, all the various things, right? So right here in the results, I removed the old lib npd and I installed the new one, right? So I can see that was a pretty straightforward change on the patching enterprise Linux playbook. So not too difficult to understand, right? It's all here and available, and I can tell what's going on. Now, I'm also going to tell you that when I create a filter here in changed, I can also save that filter so that I can reuse that filter really quick. So like ensure root login disabled, I can go there, and I can find that in all of my hardening playbooks that ran for those individual tasks. So I can see that happen in real time, right? Like this will regenerate, and I can see all this information. Now, these saved filters are going to come up towards the end. So keep that in mind. Anytime you see a save filter here in changes and in packages and believe in services as well, you're going to be able to reuse those in very interesting ways. So let's hang in there. Fasten your seatbelts. So that's a lot of really good information, right? I can see changes, which can be extremely good for auditing purposes inside my environment, right? Anytime a change happens, it would be really nice to know those sorts of things. But I can also aggregate lots of information per host, which is really good too. So while they're gathering all this information, let's do some even more interesting things with it. So here you can see a list of all of our hosts in our environment, and you can see all of this interesting errata information as well. So not only are we collecting all the packages that are there, but we can show you what errata is associated with it. So I'm just going to pick a random one here, our cacti server, and you can see all the hardware information to begin with, right? So on the left here, I have all my disks, I have my partitions in the middle, and then on the right, I can see all the mounts as well as their utilization. I can also, up in the top right, I can see all their hardware information. That's going to be like processors, RAM, all that good stuff. So essentially, I've got a map here that I can, say, for example, upgrade systems with. Say I'm running Rocky 8 and I need to move to Rocky 9. Kind of the best practice is to build a new Rocky 9 box and then migrate your apps over there. And now I know exactly how much hardware resources to send over to that thing. And then even the IP addressing that I can place on it. So if I want to keep the exact same IP, I can place that exact same IP on this host whenever I get over there, right? It's very convenient information right there. But it goes beyond that. Earlier I mentioned packages and services, and I have them right here, and they are available. I can see all the packages installed in this host. And we also have an interesting feature in here that I particularly find fascinating, and that is baselining. So you can see right up here, we have baseline diff. And what that essentially is going to do is we create a baseline for various types of images. So here, this is just our Rocky 8 baseline. So we expect a Rocky 8 host to have X amount of packages installed, right? We anticipate that being there by default. Well, baseline, whenever it's enabled, says just remove those from the view so I only see what's unique about this host, right? So it's showing me what is special about this thing. So I'm going to scroll down to the bottom. You can see it says I have 183 packages. If I turn baseline diff off and I scroll back down, 721. So you can see there are a lot of packages and only, 183 are unique, right? What is special about this one from the baseline? So that is exceptionally important, I think, in a lot of environments to see, hey, does this thing actually skew off of what we anticipate? Are there any unexpected packages on this host? How can I quickly evaluate that? Now you have a way of doing that, but that extends to services as well, right? We do baselining on services. So on baseline Rocky 8 host, we expect all these services to be running. Here are all the unique ones that we didn't anticipate being there, right? So the MySQL database, right? The MariaDB stuff. We didn't expect that to be there. Here, take a look. It actually exists in this host. Next, we have the errata. So before, you remember we could see from the host info itself, like the host page, we could see it had all kinds of various errata in there. And not all of it is like absolutely critical, right? Some of it's enhancements, some of it's kind of just small bug fixes like that. But you can actually come in here and see all of the errata information that is available. Now, all these kernels you can see are technically installed. I'm not running all these kernels. I'm just running one of them. But you can see they're all in here and it shows the errata information. I'll show you. I can click down. It's going to give me information about it. It's going to give me all the CVEs as well as the fixes right here and some additional scoring info right at the bottom, right? So all of it's here and available for me in the various formats, which honestly is going to make your security teams very happy to have all this available at their fingertips. So moving on beyond just hosts themselves, we have the errata section here, which gives you a lot of really interesting detailed information. You know, sometimes a little pie chart can make life just that much simpler, especially when you're trying to articulate to various teams how important it is to, say, cover this specific bug, right? So I have these various flavors of Rocky right here, and you can see how many of each various type is available in here. Another interesting thing is I can actually click any one of these and it'll remove it from the list. So if I'm not necessarily interested in enhancements, or say, for example, I'm not interested in low, I can remove that and it's going to show me just the interesting things to me. So just a little bit extra functionality here in this graphing that I like. Also in the errata, we can go into the packages section. So it's going to show me all the packages installed that have any errata information from all of my hosts. And say for the ACL modules or packages right here, sorry, modules, my brain is somewhere else. You could actually see that we have a couple of them that have vulnerabilities here. And I can even click on right here. It says one host, and it'll take me to the packages section under current, fills out a nice little filter for me there, and shows me the exact host that has that issue. Now, say for example, I find this filter interesting. I want to maybe reuse this. I can save this filter for later if I want. It's pretty convenient to do all that stuff. So it allows me to kind of very quickly find these hosts. I can also, while we're in the packages section here, I can remove that current. And you can see it's going to give me a list of all of those available packages inside of the system. See, we have quite a plethora of packages in here and available for us to kind of peruse. But also interesting in the package section is the logging function. So I can actually see what happened in here. Something was removed, something was added. I can see that for this very specific host named websites. I can see the lib NDP was removed and then the new version was added. So it really easily and succinctly you can see. And again, you can filter all this information. I can generate these reports off of this stuff. So it allows me to kind of aggregate and pull all of that very quickly. Again, same thing with services, right? I can look at all the current services in here and the current states for the various hosts. I can also look at the log information for said services, right? So for the server right here, SidePex2, I could see the DNF make cache service was previous state failed, and now it is in static state. So again, really easy to find all that information. Now, last, I want to talk to you about alerts right here. So alerts is a very interesting new feature that I am super stoked about. And so it allows us to, one, specify if I do get an alert, where's it going to go? And we have a few options here. So one is going to be via webhook or via email, right? So I can just send alerts via email, and you might actually want to do both, right? To me, I love getting email alerts. I mean, I say I love, let me put that in air quotes. I like the ability of having email alerts for certain things. I obviously don't want to get hit with a fire hose, but every now and then there's certain specific things I want to see, or maybe even just for a short time, I want to see some stuff as it comes through. And now you have that availability, that functionality. Also, webhooks. So I can send a webhook to a sender. A sender has baked in webhook formats for GitHub and GitLab, I believe. And so we can actually format them and send them in there. Yes, Jimmy actually did look up that formatting, and he has formatted all of our alerts to actually fall into those categories. So you can really easily, in here, I can say, yeah, I want to do a webhook and give the provider name, like whatever this thing is. Say this is going to an sender box. I can say, I'll just leave it the GitHub if I want, but I have other options in here. And then I can give it the webhook URL as well as the webhook key. And so whatever I tell a task or a job template inside of a sender, hey, enable webhook functionality, it's going to give me this information, and I can just come in here and paste it in. So now it's ready for any alert to come in to actually send to that. And when we're setting up alerts, I can actually create an alert. I'll just look up this ACL one right here. I'll hit the edit button on it, and it has the provider. So where am I actually sending it to? And then the filter. So remember we were saving filters in like packages. You can see packages or changes or services. We were creating those filters. Well, now those filters are here and available for me to do alerting on. So I can create a complex filter of any information I want to generate an alert on. And whenever that comes through, the system will see it and it will actually action on that event, which is pretty killer. So there are several alerts we have in here in the system. So theoretically, the telnet added, Chibi has this one in his demo. So if somebody adds telnet to any of the systems, it'll automatically see that package being added, trigger an alert, which is a webhook. He's actually sending that off to CIQ's React product, and that is based on event-driven automation, right? So it's really just got a listener that's sitting there listening for these webhooks to come through, and it will immediately hit a rule book and fire off a piece of automation. So it's pretty cool in that respect. Now let's take a look at the logging section as well. So not only can we send those alerts, right? Very easily created off of existing filters we have, as well as providers that we've added to the system. But we can see all the logging in here. So you can see we sent off some here, telnet added, and we shot that off to React, right? So we saw a package telnet added to a specific host and it kicked off. Again, you can see all the email alerts that have gone through, as well as telnet added, all kinds of various good information there. So you can see we have added a ton of really useful features in here. Some of those have actually come from customer recommendations. So yes, we actually do want your feedback, and not only do we want it, we respond to it. So please give us any kind of ideas for the product that you like. If you have any questions or comments, we would also be very interested in any of those. We love feedback as much as we can get. If you would be interested in seeing this in your environment, please reach out to us. We would love to talk to you about how it can actually fit into your infrastructure and maybe how we can custom tailor it to fit a little bit better. So thanks. If nothing else, happy automating, happy ledgering, and we'll see you next time. Bye.